What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of COC, Cousins on Comics. This is our third video, and I'm super excited that we're just rolling through these every week as promised. Today, we got a really awesome video. I'm really excited about that. Before we get into all that, I am, of course, half of COC, Nico. Got the other half with me.
Nathan, what up?
Today, we're going to be talking about something that is incredibly cool. Who can beat Superman? Now, a lot of times people think that Superman is unbeatable and the ultimate overpowered superhero in all of comics. Not even just DC, but all of comics. But he has actually been beaten many times before. So we're going to be talking about 5 superheroes in DC, or villains, maybe villains too, just characters in general in DC who can beat Superman. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Yeah, so like you said, basically there's been some characters that have been able to defeat Superman, like Doomsday and Batman and stuff like that, but we kind of want to get into some more of the obscure characters of the DC universe, and I think that we found that list. So let's get into it. Number 5. We got Parallax. Do you know who Parallax is?
No, I don't actually.
So Parallax is a Green Lantern villain. Parallax is the embodiment of the Yellow Lantern. Each Lantern Corps has like an entity that kind of dominates those sections. Then the Green Lanterns, of course, have their group of Guardians. So Parallax is the yellow entity, like I said, of the the Yellow Lanterns, which are known for fear. Some of his abilities include large-scale reality alterations. And I will say just right off the bat, most of my characters in some way were able to bend reality. Head to head, there may never even be a fight with a lot of these characters. Parallax is an entity that possessed Hal Jordan for a really long time. He actually got inside of Hal Jordan's green ring, and it caused his sideburns to turn gray. And it's kind of it was like a retcon thing. They actually ended up putting it in there later or whatever. But Parallax was able to start to control Hal Jordan over time and actually turned him evil. If he was able to control Superman, he'd be able to unleash Superman onto the world, which I don't think that they would even ever be ready for an evil Superman. Sort of like what we saw in Justice League a little bit.
Yeah.
That idea of what evil Superman would be like. That's what would happen to him.
I definitely love that scene in Justice League where he's going off on him, and you really get to see just how powerful Superman is. Especially, because we read in comics, we know how powerful he is, but just see it on screen, that was really cool, obviously. So I really enjoyed that.
See, the Yellow Lanterns, their deal is fear, but they don't necessarily are people who feel fear, but they're someone who can maybe inflict fear. And I think that Superman is definitely a character who can inflict some fear. And you add Parallax into that mix, you got a very super dangerous Superman at that point. So,
yeah,
number 5,
nice.
Parallax. Number 4. Lucifer. Do you know who that is?
Kind of. There's a show, right?
There is
Lucifer?
A show. Yep.
So I loosely know Lucifer just from the show a little bit, but I've never read any comics or anything.
Yeah, so he is exactly what you think he is. He is the devil. This is a guy who can actually recreate like reality also. Like this is another character who can kind of rewrite that. He has full domain over the world. So he can actually, at the end of the day, it's the devil. He has full control over everything. It was given to him by the Presence, which is another DC character. It's kind of the DC's version of God, is the Presence. So it would go like Presence being at the top, then Lucifer, as far as like in the DC universe, probably who is the most powerful. When it comes to being that powerful. And also on top of that, Lucifer doesn't even know the extent of his abilities. So he's still kind of trying to figure all that stuff out. So
nice.
Just with him not knowing what he can do, he can still alter reality. He's immortal. He can live forever, just as you would think Lucifer would be able to do. So that's number 4, Lucifer.
Nice.
Number 3. the Spectre. Do you know who that is?
I've actually just did a little research before the show. That's the only reason why I know.
Okay, so the Spectre actually, you watch Arrow or Flash, you saw the big crossover event that they just did. Arrow actually became the Spectre right there.
Okay.
He becomes the Spectre. He was given his gifts by God also, or the presence, whatever you would want to describe that as. His abilities is, again, altering all of reality. He can bring people back from the dead. He's a spirit. He's a lot of times known as like the vengeful spirit. He bonded with Hal Jordan for a really long time and was the Spectre in that way. The Spectre isn't inherently a Green Lantern character, but the Green Lantern was literally the Spectre. So it's kind of cool that Parallax and Spectre kind of line up on that.
Yeah. That's dope. We're going kind of deep. I like this, man.
Yeah, these are some, I mean, they're not like unknown characters, but I think that whenever you're thinking about who can take on Superman, you know, first person I thought, you know, is Batman, you know, so.
Right.
But trying to think of who else could potentially take him on that hasn't really maybe gone into battle with Superman. Number 2. Dr. Manhattan. Now, I know you know who that is.
Yeah, right? Of course.
Just to give a little backstory of Dr. Manhattan, scientist dude, works in a lab, science experiment goes wrong, his dad's watch is involved in the mix or whatever, boom, he gets exploded, he comes back together and he's basically a god. He can create life, he can warp reality. I mean, it's basically God, you know, and Watchmen was, of course, created a little bit outside of the DC universe, and then, of course, the DC universe inherited all of the Watchmen and those characters. Dr. Manhattan, I mean, he could split himself into 1,000 versions of himself and be just as powerful as each other. So,
damn.
Yeah. I mean,
that's awesome.
He can be 1 billion tiny versions of himself and still be just as powerful. That list kind of goes on and on and on for Dr. Manhattan.
Wow.
I think the thing about Dr. Manhattan is that he's his own worst enemy. He's kind of takes himself off the planet. He leaves. He probably would never even care to fight Superman. Dr. Manhattan 100% going up toe to toe with Superman. I feel like that'd be an easy fight.
Wow, that's saying a lot, dude.
Yeah, pretty
nice.
But that brings us to my number 1 choice. Number 1. Batmite. Now, we talked a little bit about this before we got into it. I don't think you've ever heard of this character, right?
No, I Googled him and then I had to do something else, but I saw like a rat or something, man.
He's not a rat. He's an imp, which is like a small fairy or like kind of like a magical gnome type dude.
Very intriguing.
Yeah, so, dude, I love Batmite. He is such a cool character. So he's basically Batman's biggest fan, and he is an imp, but he has reality bending capabilities like a lot of these other characters. The reason why I thought that he deserves to go at the top of the list is because at the top of the list for me, it's Batman. But then you go, okay, obscure character, it's got to be Batmite. He's the number 1 fan of Batman. He knows his stuff. He's like a fanboy, straight fanboy of Batman. And he's an imp, but he has godlike powers. The thing about Batmite is he's actually a lot like another imp-like character that's a villain of Superman, is a guy named Mxyzptlk. And he spells his name like really weird. It's like MXY. Like they're just like a bunch of like letters like put together. They're really strange. Batmite and Mxyzptlk is basically the same type of character or whatever, but like one's for Superman and one's for Batman. Although Mxyzptlk is a villain. He's not like a fanboy, whereas Batman is, you know, and he loves Batman. There's been like a couple of different issues where Batmite has, you know, attempted to try to help Batman in situations, and he tried to give Batman his powers, but accidentally gave it to the Joker instead. And then the Joker created a world where he was able to kill Batman over and over and over and over and over again. You know, I find Batman to be one of the most unkillable characters ever. So if Batmite has that ability for the Joker to be able to create a universe where he can kill Batman over and over and over again, what more can Batmite do?
Wow. Is there a lot of comics with him, dude? I'm like intrigued. I want to read him now.
I mean, I don't know if there's like a lot of comics of him, but there's definitely material out there. He's appeared in a couple of different shows. In Teen Titans, he appeared as like a Robin character, where his name name is Dick Grayson backwards. So if you spelled out the word Dick Grayson, flipped it backwards, that's his name. And he's basically Batmite, but for the Teen Titans universe, and he's, you know, obsessed with
That's
Robin.
hilarious.
So he's a really cool character, really super unique. He's got a lightning bolt on his chest instead of the bat symbol. It's like, it kind of like loosely resembles it.
Sounds really powerful too.
Super powerful. Yeah. I'm not saying he's on Dr. Manhattan's level or anything like that, but I think that Batmite would definitely try to stop Superman. Like if they were fighting, he would try to like stop him, not kill him just to kill Superman as a villain, but maybe put a stop to him. I think that might
All right, so that was the list of top 5 characters in DC that could beat Superman, the Man of Steel. Nathan did that list himself. Also, guys, we're actually working on a very awesome video about 5 characters on my side, 5 characters on Nate's side, who would win out of the 2 groups. So if I put 5 up against his 5, who would win? So I think that is definitely going to be an incredibly awesome and entertaining video. We might do that next week. I don't know. But if you have any suggestions, drop them down below. Be sure to subscribe and hit the like button. Also, if you want to check out Staircase Stories, basically there's 3 original scary stories. You have to guess which one is true. That link will be down below. Check out the first episode.
I'm so excited about this next episode. I already got 3 stories already done. Should we release the titles?
Yeah, let's do it.
We got Perchance to Dream as our first story, Fear the Rain as our second story, and then the third story is Hide and Seek.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you to hear these. I think these are going to be difficult. Really difficult for you to decide which one's the true story.
So you can check out the podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast. Literally, we're all over the place. Anyway, guys, that's it for this episode. I really appreciate you guys checking it out and rocking with us. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like if you enjoyed it. Nate, you got anything to say, man?
Peace.